In 1066, England faced a monumental shift that would alter its course forever. When William, the Duke of Normandy, crossed the English Channel with his formidable army, he brought not just conquest, but a wave of cultural and political transformation. His period saw the dominance of French culture, which influenced the English language and architecture. The introduction of feudalism created a new aristocracy, reshaping social hierarchies. A strong administrative structure was established, laying the foundation for future governance. Traditional English laws and customs were preserved while adapting to new norms. Additionally, a restructured military organization emerged to support William's rule. Together, these changes forged a New England that blended Norman and Anglo-Saxon traditions. First, dominance of French culture. The introduction of Norman French transformed the English language, leading to the development of Middle English. A wealth of French words entered English, particularly in politics. For example, crown, parliament; law, for example, court judge; and everyday life, for example, beef, pork. This enriched the language and created a dual vocabulary system. For centuries, French was the language of the royal court and administration, reinforcing its status among the elite. Also, the Normans significantly altered England's architectural landscape. The construction of imposing castles such as the Tower of London, which began in 1078, and Windsor Castle, established in 1070, symbolized Norman power and control. These fortifications served both military and residential purposes. The Normans also built many churches and cathedrals in the Romanesque style. These structures symbolized both religious devotion and the wealth of the Norman elite, further embedding Norman culture into English society. The Norman conquest of 1066 also marked the establishment of a new social and political order in England through the implementation of the feudal system. This system fundamentally transformed the landscape of power and land ownership, replacing the existing Anglo-Saxon aristocracy with a new Norman ruling class. Here's how it worked. William I granted land to his loyal followers, barons and knights, in exchange for military service. This hierarchical structure allowed for subinfeudation, where tenants-in-chief could further distribute land to lesser nobles, creating layers of loyalty and obligation. The feudal system created a rigid social hierarchy defined by loyalty and service. Tenants pledged allegiance to their lords, which was essential for maintaining order. In return, they received land and protection, solidifying wealth among the new aristocracy. To manage his new kingdom, William distributed scattered estates to tenants-in-chief while retaining extensive royal domain, land owned directly by the king. He built royal castles to assert control, requiring licenses for the construction of private castles. This hierarchical structure ensured that loyalty flowed from the king down through the ranks of barons and knights. As a result of these changes, the existing Anglo-Saxon nobility was largely replaced by a new Norman aristocracy. Approximately 4,000 thanes, the Anglo-Saxon nobility, were replaced by around 200 barons. This shift marginalized the former elite and established Normans in key administrative roles, reinforcing their control over governance. These figures are recorded in the Domesday Book, a comprehensive survey commissioned by William the Conqueror in 1086, which documented land ownership and provided a detailed account of resources in medieval England. Later, during the reign of Henry I, clerks attempted to define more precisely the services owed by tenants-in-chief. Each noble was typically required to provide one knight for military service for every knight's fee they held. The standard expectation was that knights would serve in the field for up to 40 days per year. This structure allowed for a clear hierarchy of military obligations, where nobles could grant portions of their land to vassals, who would then owe their own military service based on the land they possessed. If a noble was unable to provide the required knights, they could pay a fee known as scutage to commute their military obligation. Over time, various feudal obligations began to crystallize during the 12th century. These included payments such as scutage, a payment made in lieu of military service, aids, financial assistance for specific royal needs, relief, a fee paid by heirs to inherit their lands, and wardship, the right of a lord to control a minor's estate until they come of age. These obligations define the relationships between lords and vassals, further embedding feudalism into English society. However, despite the feudal system, English kings increasingly relied on household knights and mercenaries for military campaigns. Household knights were professional soldiers directly retained by the king, forming the core of the royal army. They received fixed payments and household provisions, serving both military and administrative roles. Typically, they included household bannerets, who had higher status, and simple household knights. In contrast, mercenaries were hired soldiers that provided additional flexibility and strength to the king's forces, allowing for quick augmentation of troops without relying solely on feudal levies. While tenants-in-chief were expected to supply knights, many nobles chose to pay fees instead. This reliance on household knights and mercenaries enabled English kings to effectively conduct warfare and maintain control over their territories. Other military structure established by William the Conqueror were the castle-building campaign and the use of the fyrd. William initiated the construction of castles throughout England, primarily using motte and bailey designs. This strategy allowed him to create strongholds that served as defensive fortifications and administrative centers. Key examples include Pevensey, Dover, and the Tower of London. These castles enabled William to exert control over key areas and deter uprisings from the Anglo-Saxon population. Over time, many wooden structures were replaced with stone fortifications, reinforcing Norman authority. William also utilized the fyrd, or royal army, alongside feudal levies. The fyrd consisted of local militia called upon during emergencies. This system was integrated into the new Norman framework. The combination of the fyrd and feudal forces provided a robust military presence in England, effective in both the conquest and suppression of rebellions. Meanwhile, the administrative structure of England evolved significantly during the reigns of William the Conqueror and Henry I. Before the Norman conquest, shire reeves surgerifa were local officials responsible for enforcing laws, collecting taxes, and overseeing governance within their shires. They acted as the king's representatives and played a role in local courts. After 1066, William retained the role of shire reeves, but transformed them into sheriffs, expanding their responsibilities to include greater enforcement of royal authority and tax collection. To ensure loyalty, William established a system where subjects swore allegiance to him. This was formalized through oaths, such as the Oath of Salisbury in 1086, where tenants-in-chief pledged fidelity to William and his heirs. Sheriffs played a crucial role as agents of this allegiance by enforcing these oaths within their counties, acting as representatives of the crown and ensuring that loyalty to the monarchy was upheld among the populace. On the other hand, William also focused on legal matters to maintain order and authority. Pleas of the crown referred to legal matters under royal jurisdiction, including serious crimes like murder and treason. These offenses required royal intervention, and a centralized legal system allowed for consistent enforcement of laws through the king's courts. Later, Henry I refined this system by emphasizing accountability among sheriffs and introducing the position of justiciar, who acted as the king's chief minister in his absence. He also established the Curia Regis, King's Court, and itinerant justices to standardize legal practices, as well as exchequer for better financial management and refined taxation methods to increase royal revenue. In the upcoming videos, we will further delve into the history of the Norman dynasty and the Plantagenet dynasty. If you're interested, please check out our video list of the British history and subscribe to our channel. And feel free to leave your questions or thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.